Hi, Mark from CharkBait here. Over at the Huntington Beach location now, and wanted to give you a quick tour. Date is, well, August 30th, 2011. We haven't done a little tour of this shop, oh gosh, since probably 2004 or something like that. So time to update it. And that's what we'll do. Similarly, did a little shop tour down at the San Diego store. Might as well get the other one up here in Huntington Beach. So I'll give you a little walk around. Just as a background, CharkBait started up in 1997 as kind of an online resource for fishermen. When I was a private boater, discovered rather quickly that it's not so easy to find a fish. It is when you're out in a sport boat or a big cattle boat and have a skipper putting you on them. So developed a website. Early on, I was still a teacher at that point in my career, and got some notoriety. Had a lot of good posts from a lot of good guys that kept us in the know, and I was out in the water 2-3 days a week, it seemed. Certainly over the summertime more than that, and so we were able to provide some good information to fishermen. And parlayed that into online tackle sales of stuff that I used and found effective, being a converted bass fisherman. A lot of inshore type of stuff, trolling lures for yellowtail, that sort of thing. I expanded and kept a day job and expanded, and then got some warehousing after pretty well destroying my own home as a warehouse. And with the warehouse, we'd open it up every couple of months, and then every month, and then every couple of weeks, and we had people driving from 120 miles away. We had folks from Santa Barbara and San Diego coming up pretty regularly when we would open the barn up. And based upon that and the increased business out of the physical location there in the warehouse, in the same shopping center, there was some retail space that had been vacant for years, and we went ahead and took that at a pretty good lease, which has since gone up every year. And that's where we're at. The store itself opened up right about 9/11, 2001. We probably were going for about a month before that, and kind of had to paint it and scrub it and get rid of whatever remnants were of the previous tenants. The place had been unoccupied for probably 3-4 years. So we did get a pretty good lease there initially. But the building changed hands a couple of times or 3, and each time, of course, the rates went up because the price of the property went up. Pretty expensive property here in Huntington Beach. In any event, with that store, kept on building it up. Finally, I got rid of the day job and was able to work full time here. Was key was getting a hold of good people. Tom, our warehouse and shipping manager, is still with us from he probably joined us 2002. That time frame. And most everybody is based here. We have additional warehouse space here. We did operate a separate physical property for warehousing and for the office staff, but really it was better for us to get everybody at one spot and work off that inventory together instead of having different locations. Easier for everybody and better, really. So we moved everybody back here from the warehouse, and so all staff works here with the exception, of course, of the San Diego store. Here in this building, we have 4 other warehouses that we've taken over, and so that's where the additional stock is. We can't hold everything in the range that we sell in a store that's only about 1,300 square feet or so. So we have to back that up in depth and in breadth in the warehouses that we have here. But I'll give you just a quick tour. Bear with me. I'll go ahead and get off the camera and get on the other end of it. Thank you. Okay, as you come through our gated doors, we have some display cases that are filled with our marlin lures and some of the more expensive reels. Just a few of the Penn custom reels and some of the high-end spinners from Penn and from Daiwa. I think there's a Z-Bass sitting there, probably our last remaining. And let's see here, back on the other side, of course, we have our counter area and the computers and that sort of thing. Lots of reels on display. San Diego shop has more display space simply because it's got more physical space to work with. But we pack everything in here rather well. We've got our hammerhead up above, and a little marlin up above, white sea bass, some jaws from a tiger from Hawaii. There's the swordfish that I never caught. A little tuna, just a little guy with a wahoo, and we've got an albacore and skippy and a few other things. our wall of iron. We've got quite a bit of iron going on here. Some of the stuff for wahoo as well as our yellowtail and bass and that sort of thing. Some fixings to go ahead and dress up the lures a little bit, or if you get them shredded by a wahoo, we can reskirt them and that sort of thing. Some of the longer rods, we've got a few 10-footers in here and some 9-footers and some of our custom sticks and that sort of thing. And as we keep on moving, of course, we have a few things hung up on the ceilings, and we try and make use of every bit of space that we've got. When you come into the shop, of course, we have some things that we're either phasing out or made a special buy on. John, the manager here, keeps things hopping in that regard, and changing over. We're doing more and more of our own lures, and so here are some of the sliders and the swimmers, and then we've got our banana jigs, luminescent golds and silvers, and the illuminatas, which are pretty trick. They'll use a small light stick as an insert. They get bit very, very well. Pretty sparse on the braid marauders right now. Braid's not shipping a whole lot of those guys, so we've got some gaps in that inventory that we've got to get taken care of fast before long range season kicks in. Some of our assist hooks, some more of our deeper water lures that are under our own name, some good knives. These guys, we call them the wedge. Those are dandy lures and very similar to 7 Seas product that runs about, $30 or so. Again, since we're doing things ourselves, we're able to attain a much better price structure, and that gets translated to a better retail price, and we can do some upgrading. These lures on the Wahoo Rippers, those are very similar to an old standard Spaniard, or which is out of business, which was the predecessor to Raider lures, or actually Raider was Spaniard's product, and then they had some issues with the trade name, and so Spaniard from Australia lost the rights to that name, and another firm kind of took it. Very similar, made out of brass, and of course, since we're doing them ourselves, we're able to upgrade the finish a little bit, still make them out of brass, and then upgrade the hooks, and downgrade the pricing considerably, much better values. And as we go back through, again, a lot of inshore stuff on this wall, we get back into our catchy tackle and some of the other pieces that are real good for wahoo and for tuna. A lot of lures in that respect. We've got our Zookers, and we've got our 7 strands and tormentors, and a number of good products in that into things. Lots of sabikis. In fact, I was thinking of starting a new business called Sabikis R Us. Some of our gloves, and again, keeping walking down the lures, the Betamatics, which are great for threshers and makos and wahoo, but they are by far the #1 lure when it comes to producing threshers. When that water temp hits around 62 or so here, it's a great time to get them. Of course, we have lots of lead, and we have some alternatives to lead with respect to products that are manufactured by quick release. Pretty innovative in that respect. Lots of Rapala and Uzuri. Uzuri's getting a little sparser because right now Uzuri's going to be going through a changeover. So we're trying to sell out of the stock that we have fairly naturally as we move towards the new products that will be coming in the fall. Of course, our Toro Tamers, which have been very successful, like the Shibuki lure out of Tackle House, Japan, except since we go straight to the source and we're not going through 2-step or 3-step or Japanese Boys Club, we're able to get that price down at a much more reasonable level, 15 to $20 instead of the high rate they were. On the Escalites, those are dandy devices for deep water fishing. Just really very, very effective. And of course the mirror lure, which is bread and butter. The metal lipped lures are good, but the plastic lipped 111s are better. Get more depth, and that's become a big go-to for the guys fishing Sea of Cortez and Baja. In the oranges and the pinks do very well down there. The big El Patrons, some of the poppers from Strike Pro, their version of a Marauder, which is made out of cypress wood, a little denser, similar head shape to the braid, which is a good thing. Those do real well. Some of our River to Sea jigs, of course, we go through line with the Momoy product and P-line and Iser line on the other side, and others, stocked out wide, broadly. These guys are pretty cool. From Blade Runner, They're a little squid imitation, and they can be real effective, not just for rockfish and lingcods and that sort of thing, but white sea bass will gobble them up, and they cast like bullets, big range sizes. Tackle storage, there's some changes coming in that into things with open water going away. We've lost a few suppliers that way this year, over the last 2 years, between Albacore, WFO, it appears, and now open water. SKB, alive and kicking, very strong company, but those are harder boxes. And of course, lots of tools and crimpers, and then we get back into our rods, and it's just a mass of rods from CalStar and Seeker, the Ahi Assassins that'll be changing their name based on some trade name issues. We have some pin rods. We'll be expanding our selection of pin rods. The Akuma rods will be expanding significantly there with the introduction of the Makaira series, which are some dandy pieces. And then we come back over here to our Spectra racks, lots of Spectra. We have a few gaps there with Jerry Brown having a hard time shipping some of the hollow core, but we still have a very good assortment. And then the Daho needles, of course, for the hollow rigging, the Sato crimps and the Sato kits, and then we get into our hooks from Mustad, who's really stepped up their game a lot this past year with many introductions that have just hit the nail on the head. Owner and Gamakatsu, some Eagle Claw, they're falling back a little bit. Fluorocarbon, really a wide selection from the Quattro, which is a color changing line, 4-color. Wonderful line and real economical. P-line, Blackwater, Cigar, both the blue label and the Premier, Yasuri and the pink. And the Momoy is also now a supplier of the fluorocarbon. Good product. Iser, of course, more Iser, a lot of Iser. The rigging, American Fishing Wire in depth, P-line product, quick rig on some of the tricker hooks, and the doubles that way. Some good marlin hooks with the Hayes hooks, excellent, well thought of, and the big circles. And when I say big circles, I mean these guys have some monstrous circle hooks. Get into a 24-aught. And of course lots of wire, Pakula on the rigging, against some trolling hooks, typically a shorter shank, quick rigging on the doubles in a couple of different ways. And as we keep going back, lots of wind-on leaders from Momoy, the ones we do produce ourselves. Lots of drift socks. Of course, we have to have a bait freezer. We don't have live bait. Carry lots of books, and quite a range as far as the drags for service and that sort of thing. And then we come into our office area. And back up towards the front again, and then that's just about it. I kind of missed all these plastics, didn't I? Lead heads, Hava heads, war baits just recently started coming into our inventory. Got a bunch more flavors to come in that category. Some of the wiggle heads, which are usually hard to find. Lots of plastics, lots of range from Big Hammer. Some of the Robo products back over here on the side. Again, lots of lead heads. Some of these big guys are for our folks going up to Alaska. Others will use them too, but those are really made for the Alaska-bound fishermen. Some other storage. And that is kind of a rundown of our Huntington Beach shop. There's a lot more that we're not showing, or that I'm not showing here, as far as tuna lures and other products. But that gives you just kind of a range of what you get into when you come over to the shop. The only thing you're missing, I guess, would be the staff, and that's the main thing that differentiates us from other places. The staff here is very experienced. They know what they're talking about, and they're here to help. So we're not just a nameless, internet portal or a phantom of the net, as I like to refer to some of these places. We have people here that know what they're doing, and that's the reason why we maintain a couple of different 800 numbers, so you can call and get some good advice and suggestions and help if you have any issues with products that you get from us or other people. So thank you for taking the time to see the little video. I'm proud of this place. From where we started out to where we are now, 10, 15 years later, it's quite a change. But we had a concept, and we started at the right time. We were ahead of the curve, and thankfully, with the help and support of our clients and our friends, we've been able to grow in challenging times. So that's the rundown for the Huntington Beach store. Again, Feel free to give us a call, contact us, send an email, and for sure send your pictures of successful catches. We always like to show that stuff off. Thanks for visiting. Bye-bye.